Guys, our next guest has always been requested by the listeners. And what better time than now? Hot off the heels of UFC 258 in the books. There's more questions than ever as far as what's next for himself. Colby Chaos Covington, welcome back to Submission Radio, man. Thanks for joining us. It's a little bit late over there. We appreciate it.
Guys, I just want to start off by, let's have a moment of silence, guys. Let's have a moment of silence for Marty Fake Newsman's hairline. 1 second. 1 second. That thing took a run all the way to the back of his hair, man. I feel bad for his hairline, man. That thing is ugly, man. I'm going to have to get some new glasses for my next press conference that I see Marty at, because that dome is all shiny and ugly dome. So, I just want to start the interview off by having a moment of silence for his hairline. Rest in peace to it.
Well, we're off to a banger already. Already a classic Colby Covington interview.
Thanks for your time, Colby. We'll speak to you next week.
But there's a lot to talk about, and Usman is one of the topics that we're going to talk about. But before we do, man, the last few, I think almost million times we've spoken to you, Jorge Masvidal has been the man in your sights. He's the man who you wanted to fight next. Now, it looks like the UFC have moved on from that matchup. In your words, tell us, what exactly happened with that fight? Why didn't it come together?
Yeah, in my words, which is the truth, and Dana White and everybody over at the UFC can attest to that. He's just scared of me. I mean, he's afraid, he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to get embarrassed in front of the whole world. He knows how this matchup goes. So, he's just looking, he'd be willing to lose to anybody else but me, So the UFC offered him, a 7-figure payday, an Ultimate Fighter gig, this heated rivalry, The only reason I wanted to fight, Jorge Street Judas Masvidal, we got a vendetta, and it needs to be settled. And, it's an easy payday for me, and I was willing to go back, but it's because of the way he was running his mouth, He was saying I was fragile. He said he was going to knock me out. He said he was going to baptize me to, close people to me. Saying let's fight in the parking lot at our old gym. Let's go fight in the parking lot of Publix. Trying to act tough at events in front of Dana, like, hey, I'll beat Colby's ass, this and that. So that's the only reason I was willing to go backwards, because there's a legitimate personal beef there. This is deeper than just a fight, It's just, this is a broken friendship, a complete rivalry now. But, what can I do about it? He doesn't want to fight. He's scared to fight. He knows what would happen if we fight. So I got to move on. I got bigger business to take care of. I don't need to go back in the rankings anyways. I'm the number 1 welterweight in the world. I'm the number 1 ranked. And, frankly, I deserve my title shot. Marty Fake Usman, he got lucky as fuck the first time we fought. I was beating him 3-1. The next time we fight, I'm not going to get poisoned before the fight. In the fight, I'm not going to have Mark Goddard to save him and stop momentum in the fight. When I kick him in the liver, they call it a nut shot. That changes the whole momentum of the fight, man. And he had multiple breaks in the fight to catch his wind and regroup and stuff. And it was an early stoppage. I was winning the fight 3-1. I want my rematch with Marty. Jorge Street Judas Masvidal forfeit out of the welterweight tournament. It's only me and Marty Fake Newsman left at the top of the mountain.
I know last time we spoke, you mentioned how you haven't heard from the UFC in a little bit since that win that you had. Had they actually contacted you and offered you the Ultimate Fighter and said, hey, we're going to be talking to Jorge, trying to make that happen? Or was that never a conversation that even took place?
It was a conversation that took place, and they knew my side was done. As soon as I got done with Woodley, Dana White promised me Jorge Masvidal or Marty Fake Newsman next. So, I was willing to do them a favor and fight Jorge Masvidal and go back in the rankings to fight some journeyman. He's washed up. He hasn't fought in over a year. He knows he's at the end of his time, and his career's over. So he just doesn't want me to completely end his career, and it's just, it's unfortunate, because I know that's what the fans wanted, and I like giving the fans what they want and being a people's champ for a reason. But what can I do when a guy blatantly ducks me,
Just out of curiosity, when were they targeting that fight, Colby? And also, when did you know this deal was dead? When did you realize or find out that this fight's just not going to happen?
Yeah, when I first talked to them in September, October after the Woodley fight, they told me, and by the way, what happened to Street Judas Masvidal teaching Woodley all his tricks so he could beat me? Hopefully he isn't teaching Jake Paul those same tricks, because that ain't going to work out too well. But as I was saying, back to what I was saying, after I fought Woodley, Dana White, Hunter Campbell called me. They wanted to get the fight done in December, January. I was on board. I agreed. I put the pen to the paper, but, Jorge Masvidal was nowhere to be found. He was hiding. You know, him and Malky were hiding. They want nothing to do with me. They know what happens when they fight me, man. It doesn't end well for them. So, you know, they've been ducking me, and they wanted that fight then. And then and then after he turned down January, they're like, okay, well, let's do the Ultimate Fighter. You know, we could start taping in May. You know, you guys fight as the pay-per-view main event at the end of it in June. And it would have been perfect because, you know, I am Jorge Masvidal's father, so I know Father's Day is in June. So it would have been a 2-for-1 special. I would have beat his ass, spanked my little son, and I would have got a happy Father's Day.
Oh man, nobody can put it like you, Colby. Let me ask you this though. You mentioned Usman. Everybody thought we were going to see you and Jorge to find out who was going to face Usman next. The fight obviously didn't come together. So how do you feel when you watch him Sunday night after his win and he's calling out, you know, Jorge Masvidal, taking the time to sort of address him? I know he said that he can take on anybody can get it, but how did you feel seeing, you know, his management, Jorge's management, campaigning for this fight when the fight between yourself didn't come together?
You know, it's hilarious. Marty Fake Newsman's a complete coward. You know, if I would have had a win over him the way he has a win over me, I would have wanted to run that back right away. You know, you didn't beat me, and the fans knew that night in that arena, and everybody around the world knew that that was a bullshit stoppage, it was a bullshit fight. And, you know, there's still a lot of stones that are unturned. So there's a lot of unfinished business. So he just knows what presents him the hardest challenge, and that's me. He's looking for an easy payday. He's looking for the Street Judas Masvidal because he knows he's washed up. That fight goes the same way every single time, guys. Let's not make no mistakes. Malky and Street Judas Masvidal are saying, oh, if we have a full camp, what are you talking about, dude? You were putting pictures all over fucking Instagram and social media. You're with Bo Nickel, this good wrestler, and you were spooning with him for 3 or 4 months before the fight. And then Dustin Poirier says, you know, before he fights Hooker that, you know, you were in his training camp and you were training hard for that fight. So you got no excuse that you were on 6 days notice, man. Stop making excuses, man. The people see right through you, man. You're everything you said you would never be, George. And it's sad to see, man, but I'm glad that me and the people have something in common that we can see right through you. Fake coward.
Is it weird that it kind of seems like it not pre-planned, but it seems like Usman kind of had this in his mind all along, and Masvidal didn't want to take the fight with you. Now that it's all coming together, does it kind of make sense a little bit that, you know, Usman called him out, and then straight away, you know, Masvidal's camp is keen on the fight, and there's almost a pre-planned sense to it where they both don't really want to match up with you, and we're both sort of waiting for this next moment to do this rematch.
Yeah, that's exactly true. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Malky and, you know, that terrorist snitch, Ali Abdullah Sleaze, you know, worked a deal out behind closed curtains. You know, they probably want to get that deal done, you know, and that fight's never going to sell like it did the first time. You know, they hit lightning in a bottle. It was the perfect time of everything that was going on. You know, people were more intrigued in that fight because they thought that there was going to be sharks and dancing alligators on Fight Island, and they thought this mysteria behind Fight Island was just going to be so crazy and this and that. So the people see the truth about Jorge Masvidal now. He got exposed, man. He's been ducking me for 6 months, man. He's a coward. He talked all that shit in the media that it's on site. I'm going to fight you in the street. I'm the king of Miami. This and that. I'm going to baptize you. No, you're not the street Jesus. You're the street Judas. And the people see that.
You know what else, Colby? People are looking to make some cash as well. So before we talk about what's next, I just want to bring up a mutual friend of ours, and that is MyBookie. Because MyBookie, as you would have told all your fans as well as people know, is the only sports book all of us recommend. They take good care of all of the athletes. They take great care of everybody who bets with them. And if you guys sign up with promo code SUBMISSION, MyBookie will match you deposit halfway up to $1,000. How about that? So visit MyBookie online today. That's MyBookie. Joey and the team over there do a fantastic job. But let's talk about what's next, man, because you mentioned you want Kamaru Usman next, but it looks like the UFC is going to be trying to make this rematch. We saw Dana White talking about that. He thinks the next move could be Leon Edwards for you. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is, first off, guys, I know you guys got your promo code, but don't be shooting this MyBookie promo. First off, it's the undisputed king of the sports book. The undisputed king of the sports book.
Of course.
And if you want to sign up, use promo code Colby, and you know, you're going to get a 50% match deposit.
You know, we made a mistake because we didn't have the women with us. I don't know what we're doing. This is a big mistake. This is a mismatch.
The fans are spoiled for choice.
It's like John
We're
Cena
on
versus Ric
Submission
Flair
Radio.
trying to cut a promo. This is a bad idea from the beginning.
We're on Submission Radio, so we got to keep it G-rated, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, tell us, what was your reaction, man? You got Dana White out there in the news talking about that the next move for you could be Leon Edwards.
You know, I don't know what he's talking about, man. That's just, you know, him talking. Let's talk about facts, man. I'm not in the Leon. First off, guys, it's Leon Scott. What's his name?
Nobody says it better than you, Colby.
Code word submission on my bookie.
I'm not talking about it until you say Leon Scott. He's more well known for Leon Scott than he is for his other name.
The man. I feel like it's when someone comes from parts unknown, right? He is the man you address as Leon Scott, right? The man that Dana White wants. He's the man.
He's the man that the whole internet addresses as. It's Leon Scott. And Leon Scott hasn't earned anything, boys. I'm in the Colby Covington Incorporated Championship pay-per-view business. I'm not in the Leon Scott charity business. This isn't charity hour, man. I'm fighting in the top of the mountain. I'm fighting the best in the world. Did Marty Fake Newsman get a call from the president after his last fight? Oh, geez. I wonder why. Because he sucks. He's irrelevant. So, you know, people, I've done things no one's ever done in this sport. I'm not doing charity business no more. It's not my fault this kid hasn't fought in 2 years. It's not my fault, you know, this kid, you know, there's people from England that are fighting all the time in the pandemic. They're not scared to fight. So I'm not doing charity for this guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. He's irrelevant. He's beat a bunch of bums, and I'm not doing charity. This isn't charity hour. This is fucking championship fucking pay-per-view hour.
If the UFC and Dana White they say, look, this is the fight that we want to make, what would be your answer to them? Is this a hard pass? You're just not interested in Leon Edwards at all at this point?
I would say Marty Fake Newsman. You're gonna give Street Judas Masvidal the same guy that you were talking on the phone with me and saying he's the hardest guy in the world to deal with. You know, he's the next Diaz. You know, he only wants to fight once every 2-3 years. You're going to reward that guy? He hasn't fought since that fight, a year, you know, and that fight goes the same way every single time. You want to do that same exact outcome again? For what? What's the point? 6 days, 6 months, 6 years? That fight's the same every single time. The people want to see one fight. They want to see rematch Marty Fake Newsman, Colby Chaos Covington Part 2. Are you fucking kidding me? It was a joke. It was the biggest scam and the biggest corruption in the history of this sport. Are you kidding me? I was destroying him. He got lucky, and he knows that. He had a life raft thrown to him multiple times. Why does he want to run it back with me? Oh, because I'm the toughest dog in the pack. If I was the easy dog in the pack, he'd be coming after me. But he's not.
It's interesting how this whole thing has sort of come together quickly, because obviously Leon Edwards was supposed to fight Khamzat Chimaev, and then that fight fell apart. And, you know, since then he's become available. So now it's kind of like a bit of a pivot to try and match you guys up together. If he had beaten Khamzat and sort of gotten a win more recently, would that have made him more interesting as a prospect to you? And I'm curious what your reaction was when that fight fell apart initially.
Who is this? Who is this? Khamzat? What's it? Who?
Khamzat Chimaev.
Who is this guy? I've never heard of him.
He's had a few wins in the UFC last year. He had a good year, 3 wins.
He's had a few wins in the UFC last year, 3 wins. How many ranked fighters did he beat?
I believe none of them were ranked.
You want me to talk about guys that he didn't even beat a ranked guy? I have like 4 champions on my resume my last 4 fights. Let's talk about real business. Let's not talk about charity business no more. I deserve and I earned a fight for the world title. I just destroyed the former champ, finished him like nobody's finished him before in the UFC. I came back and won a fight. What has Jorge Masvidal done besides sit on the sideline and fake pull out of fights? You know, he's scared to fight. He knows he's washed up. He's a journeyman. He's looking for one more payday. No one wants to see that guy fight for the title. They know what's going to happen. It's going to be the same exact outcome. And why reward a coward like that? A guy that's blatantly scared to fight.
We know that first trip to the title shot, it took a lot longer for you than a lot of other fighters who just got it given a lot quicker. And I know you've mentioned that the relationship between you and the UFC was pretty good. But if you are put in this position where they make Usman and Masvidal next, what would that mean for your relationship with Dana and the UFC? Would that be one of those final straws for you where you just get so frustrated with the way things are going in this relationship where you can't seem to get these matchups?
Yeah, it'd be really hard to swallow. The way that I've been treated my whole entire career, I was stripped of a title unlawfully. I was supposed to unify my title and fight Woodley and get pay-per-view points. They took it away from me blatantly for no reason. I showed up and fought Robbie Lawler with half my face hanging off on 2 weeks to save their show on ESPN, to make them money. I got the president of the United States during the most crazy and biggest election of all time. I got the president of the United States calling you on your TV on the ESPN platform, giving them more buys and clicks and views than they've ever had. The things I've done for this company, I show up and I show out. I talk the talk, I walk the walk. My numbers speak for themselves and my accomplishments speak for themselves. I've earned to be at the top of the mountain and fight the best guys in the world to prove that I'm the best in the world, because that's how I feel right now. You know what I've done since my last fight? And since the fight I fought Marty Fake Usman 15 months ago, I've gotten new coaches. I've gotten better. I got Daniel Valverde, unbelievable jiu-jitsu coach. We're getting better every single day. My striking coach, my kickboxing coach, Cesar Carnero, we're evolving at a rate I've never seen before in my entire career. I feel more confident now in my skills than I ever have in my life, and I just know I'm unbeatable right now. All I need is the opportunity. So, I hope that I can get the opportunity and they stop passing me up and they take me serious. All Dana has to do is give me the ball, and I guarantee I'm scoring the touchdown.
And you mentioned it there. You're in the prime of your career. How devastating would it be for you to have to sit out for an extra, 6, 7, 8 months and wait for this whole thing to play out before you actually get back into that octagon?
It would suck. It would be hard. But, if that's God's plan and that's what he has set out for me, then what can I do? I just have to, trust God's plan, keep working hard. And that's what I do every single day. I'm a blue collar, hardworking American, man. I love earning things the hard way, During this time, I just go visit the troops. I go visit law enforcement, people that are heroes and inspire me, and they uplift me, and I get more motivation from them. So, I'll just keep doing those things, those selfless acts of just kindness and showing my appreciation and support. I have a platform now. I've done well for myself, and I want to give back, and I want to do more with what I've earned.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of doing more, do less when it comes to trimming your balls. If you want those silky, smooth bastards, extra smooth, and get your balls licked. I know Valentine's Day is over, but that's the kind of thing that comes around all year long. Do it with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0, the best personal grooming tool on the market in the planet. 7,000 RPMs motor, skin-safe technology so that you don't cut one of your nuts off while you're doing it in the shower. It's waterproof, so you can shave your balls anytime, any place, and 90 minutes, up to 90 minutes of battery life. And your good friends at Submission Radio are giving away a promo code with the promo code submission that gets you 20% off. Absolutely fantastic. But just quickly, you mentioned that obviously Kamaru Usman is the man that you were targeting, Colby. He's the man in your sights next. So I got to get your thoughts. What did you think over his win against Gilbert Burns this past weekend at UFC 258?
Yeah, I think that looks like a guy, really primed to get knocked out his next fight. And I want to be the one to deliver it. He looks a little chinny, Gilbert, he's an oversized midget, man. He's a 55er getting knocked out by 55ers. The guy's nothing, and that guy came out and dropped you and almost finished you in the first round. You got lucky to get out of that he fell on his back and just sat there for 5 minutes and let you recover. But besides that, I didn't see anything special. I see a guy that's gotten worse. He changed camps and he looks like a different fighter in the worst way. He looks like he's declined in his progression. So he looks like a guy I'm ready to expose to the world, and I want to show them Colby Chaos Covington 2.0.
It's interesting because apart from this Usman fight, and it looks like this rematch with Masvidal is going to happen, there's no real interest for you to fight anybody.
It's going to happen. What are you guys talking about?
We hate to be the bearers of good news, of bad news, man, but it's what it looks like online. I'm curious. Obviously, no interest in Leon.
No one wants to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know what. No one wants to see it. The people want to see me fight Marty Fake Usman again. No one wants to see that again.
And we did run a poll, and everybody voted for the tough season of Covington versus Masvidal. So it is disappointing to a lot of people that this fight doesn't happen. we saw that, Nate Diaz, for example, is going to be going to welterweight. Is he someone that entertains you while you wait for the title picture to get sorted out? Or is it going to be pretty much title or bust for you?
He won't fight me. That Stockton soy boy knows he gets slapped up by MAGA bombs all day. He has no chance, and he knows that. So he doesn't even spit my name out of his mouth because he knows what comes with that. And it's a really bad losing paycheck and worse than he's ever had in his career. I mean, I would beat that guy silly. He would have no brain cells left. And he doesn't have a lot of brain cells as it is. The guy's completely fried, man. I mean, he's got about 1 or 2 brain cells left. So, I'd almost feel bad to just do him like that and just completely take every last one.
Last one for me, Colby, as we wrap up. Just time frame wise, what do you see realistically as next for yourself? It's kind of unknown to see what the UFC are going to go with. If for whatever reason this Masvidal-Usman rematch happens, I'm curious when you see yourself back in the octagon, back in action, when fans can see you competing again.
When the UFC comes at me right. When they come with something that I've deserved, something that I've earned, through blood, sweat, and tears, man. I gave everything to this career, put my life on the line in Brazil for this company, man. Got death threats, got the mob in Brazil putting a $50,000 bounty on my head. I'm not even allowed to ever go back to Brazil and fight because of that. They wanted me to fight in Rio, and I still signed up to go fight in Rio, and I knew I had death threats there, and people want me dead. I've done so much to this company. First fighter ever to go to the White House, the only fighter that's ever going to do that because we know, Street Judas Masvidal ain't going, but what I've done in this sport is unmatched, man. I've made history more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, and I continue to break records and make history, and I'm going to keep doing that. So I'm going to keep working hard, and when the right opportunity comes to me and the UFC gives me something that I deserve, I'm going to take it. Otherwise, just going to keep working hard, man, doing everything I've been doing since I was a little kid growing up in Oregon.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it would be a shame to see you not in that octagon anytime soon. We can't wait to see what happens next. I know the fans can't wait to see your return. And guys, make sure to follow the man on social media at Colby Cov MMA, of course. One of the most entertaining accounts on social. And of course, we can't wait to see what happens next. Colby, thank you so much for joining us, man. And hoping for big things. Hopefully 2021 sees a bunch of Colby Covington.
Another classic.
Hope so too, boys. We'll see what happens.